This was a presentation given to the library that I spoke about a little earlier. And the fabulous fairy tales, folk tales, fables, and folklore. You know more about this school than I do, especially in your own time. So part of what we're going to talk about here is I'm trying to get this to go. There we go. Of course, that's my name. Was it Don't Wear It Out or something? How would that go? Okay, you recognize what we call the yogi?
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. The yogi went through a small transformation and I did it. And the reason was it was flat. So all I did was come in, give it some texture, give it some shape. And I always know my work because I didn't finish here and I didn't finish there. And I actually made it taller. And Mr. Colum, one of the originators of this character, always yells at me because I gave another antler or antenna. He says it's hidden underneath the hat. I thought, wow. So, okay, so there's that. The spin that I'm going to be putting on this is going to be reminiscent of this character. Yep. Because again, we both share the knowledge. You know again more than I do for your time. But I know you would know who this was, but of course the students would just kind of look at it and go, Frankenstein. And that might be it. So we're going to talk about what's really on top of the Mac Jam. What was that? Did you hear it? And are we all here? And that's the ghost story.
Ooh.
And then we talked a little bit about what might be below. So people seem to think that there is no swimming pool on top of the gym. And so I'm going to rush through if you don't mind.
You know, that rumor got started because there was a ladder that went up and over, and it looked like the sign that was on the side of the pool.
Yes.
And that everybody said, oh, there was a swimming pool.
Yeah.
I have a 1932 pepper bow, but the humorous version of the pepper bow, and the person said he bought a pass for the escalator in the old admin building and the pool, $10. My only thing is $10 in 1932.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
So this one, let me just kind of take you through the story. So something scary, you know this phrase, I just changed it a little bit for us. So it's talking about the haunting of the Whitmer Auditorium.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And this is where there's confusion. So a few decades ago, a young lady and her baby, they came from LA and they were on their way through here to San Bernardino. And they stopped. But wait, let me stop and remind you. Before there was an auditorium, there were 4 houses on Valley Boulevard. And they faced the street. So the auditorium wasn't there. It was there in your time, but it wasn't at this time. This is turn of the century. Back when the school was the 1903 school at the corner of 3rd and Valley. So, as she gets here, she's lost. She knocks on the door, and a man answers the door. So she thanked him. I'm going to just run through this. If you don't mind, I'm just going to jump that. So she goes inside the house, and he tries to give her directions. There is no telephones, so they're not able to make the connection that way. So finally, as she tries to leave, comes the ghost story, or the murder story. So he turned around, and as she's going, he locks the door. And so as they're doing this, he reaches into the closet. I'm reading this out of the newspaper, so it must be true. Yeah. Later, the man was arrested because she was dead, and so was the baby. I have to skip that for the kids. I don't want to get too graphic. Okay. But because of all the crying and the screams, which could be heard, the neighbors, of course, called the police and all. They moved. All 4 houses were vacated. Not because of this murder, but by the fact that there were more murders and deaths. As you can imagine, people die in homes. But there were 2 other murders. So the city took the property, and years later they gave it to us. And we made an auditorium. And there was the other occasions there. Again, I'm trying to run through for us. But when the auditorium is full, you can't hear any noise. But when the auditorium is empty, that's when it gets exciting in there. So, of course, the story was written by Clara. I took this from her. She was the Pepper Bow editor-in-chief, and it was 1987. She wrote it in the spirit of Halloween to tell a ghost story that was happening here on campus. Okay, who's really in this picture?